morning. Welcome to Suero TV.
Morning, Lovato. Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, thank you for coming. Thank you for agreeing to do this, actually. Can you please just tell our viewers on what you actually do briefly before we start our interview?
Right, so my name is Jonathan Hore. I'm the managing tax consultant at Aupracon Tax Specialists. So we are a tax specialist services firm. We offer tax consulting services. It could be transactional advice. It could be disposal of business. It could be anything to do with taxation where somebody or a company needs to know the tax consequences or tax implications of the decisions that they might want to do or to take. And secondly, we do customized tax training for companies and individuals. We also work with institutions which conduct these trainings. And some of us may know that, BICA does the tax trainings frequently, yeah. So we work with them as well. The last thing that we do is what we call tax compliance. So tax compliance is your dealings with BRS, submission of your returns, tax clearance certificates, yeah. And all these things which basically need to put somebody or a company in compliance with the tax laws. So that's what we do at Aupracon Tax Specialists. And if somebody wants to get in touch with us, they can call. We are working from home. We've got our offices in Commerce Park, but we're working from home. So our number is 7181-5836. Just to repeat that, 7181-5836.
Yeah, just in case they need anything, any services to do with tax. Yeah, I know you are a very passionate person. I mean, I've known you since KPMG times. Is it since KPMG days?
Yeah. KPMG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I know you are very passionate about tax on a general. You're a tax specialist. So we have actually brought Jonathan here to actually now for us to discuss the tax adjustments that the Minister Matsheka, Dr. Matsheka actually mentioned on his budget speech a few days ago. So we would like to actually explain them to you, the viewers, so that you actually understand why he made those decisions and how do they affect your pockets. Yeah, that's the most important thing. How does it affect your pocket and how can you actually manage it? So so Jonathan, welcome. So what is the very first thing that I would like us to talk about is that the minister actually adjusted is the VAT from 12% to 14%. What do you think the strategy there is for the government?
All right, Lord. So first of all, before I get into details, let me make things clear for our listeners, your listeners as well.
Yeah.
Number one, what the minister did was to go to Parliament and made proposals. So the minister hasn't increased anything. The minister hasn't changed anything. Nothing has happened as we speak.
Yeah.
But the proposal has been made. So the proposals will be discussed. After being discussed, then it will be passed into law.
Okay.
So at the moment, we should not see any changes to VAT. Like we always do get questions at our office. Okay, which rate should I use? The old rate or new rate? We're like, okay, nothing has happened.
Yeah.
And you got people saying, tax amnesty has already started. Like, no. Tax amnesty hasn't started. What you are seeing on the ground is something else. Nothing to do with what the minister announced. So that's number one. Number two, the VAT, of course, the minister proposed to increase the VAT from 12% to 14% effective the 1st of April 2021. 1st of April 2021. Nothing happens before that date.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the background as to what led to that increase. When the minister went to Parliament last year in 2020, presenting the 2021 budget, he stated that we have capacity to increase taxes. He really said that. Then he said, but the priority in the interim is not to increase taxes, it is to increase tax efficiencies. Now, tax efficiencies, he meant BRS capability or capacity to collect the taxes that are currently being levied at their present rate. Now, that was in February. Now, come March, COVID happens. The whole world is now getting into lockdowns. We also went into lockdowns.
Yeah.
Borders are closed. Companies are not functioning, are not operating. People are no longer flying. Tourism is almost collapsing. And one of the companies in the tourism sector is a publicly listed entities. It recorded about 460% decline in profits.
Yeah.
So all these things started happening. And guess what? All those things also constrained, it constrained two sources of revenue. Okay, the external one, which is your mineral revenue, and then secondly, your SACU revenues would obviously be impacted.
Yeah.
The third one, of course, is your domestic taxes, your VAT, your pay as you earn, your corporate tax, because corporates could not operate as normal. And then came the new normal, where before you get into a shop, you have to get your temperature taken, and then you have to sanitize, etc. So all that sort of slowed business activity, and then definitely did hit hard on the VORS collections. So that's what happened. So now, at the end of the year, you do now have the authorities trying to say, how do we balance the taxes that we collect against the budget that we need to, finance?
Yeah.
So then the obvious thing is, the money is no longer, coming in as we expected before. So what do we do?
Yeah.
Put yourself in that kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Some people might be saying, why are you increasing the VAT? The VAT just increases costs for us. Yes, it's true. It's true. So the minister could have come up with other options. The other option could have been increasing pay as you earn for employees, earning above at the highest bracket. That was an option, or increasing company tax. But again, increasing company tax meant that you could even threaten businesses and jobs as well.
Yes.
So, well, the easiest, I'll tell you, in any country, the easiest tax to increase is VAT. So it's not surprising that he proposed to increase it. So again, but it was against the background of dropped or declining revenue.
Yeah, revenue for the government. I think we need to be clear about that, because we actually also need to just explain in a very simplistic way, because so that whoever is listening can actually understand what you mean. So basically what Jonathan was saying is government needs a revenue to come in. He needs money to come in for us to be able to function as a country. The government needs money, and money has been affected. Its income has been affected. And he's just saying this is why Dr.Thapelo was proposing the increment of 12%. And he also mentioned actually, Jonathan, that we are actually the lowest tax in the region. The VAT is actually in the lowest in the region. And I found that very interesting, and I checked. I actually went and Googled, and I'm just like, let me check all the regions, and it's actually very true. We're actually one of the lowest. VAT. Our VAT is actually one of the lowest in the region. I mean, I checked. Tanzania is like sitting at 18%. Cameroon is sitting at 19.25%. SA is actually at 15%. I actually thought SA was still at 14%. I didn't know they had increased to 15% as well. Namibia is sitting at 15%. Zim is sitting at 14.5. Malawi is 16.5. Angola is at 14, as well as Mauritius at 15. So we are actually still lower than most African countries in terms of our VAT.
Yeah. So I think that was one of the issues. To be honest with you, the minister was getting feedback and input from economists and also tax practitioners. And the economists were saying that this rate is unsustainably low. Yeah. So they started talking about that way before 2015. So for us, this increase didn't come as a surprise, because we know what was happening in the background. We know there were no intentions to increase taxes, but there was going to come a time when the avoidable would become unavoidable. So as you say, we currently have the lowest tax rate in the region. The average for SADC is 15.33. Yeah. So the ministers are just moving it towards the average, basically. So we even if after he moves it, we will still be among the lowest. Yeah. The only other country which we have a lower VAT than us is Nigeria, which is at 5%, but Nigeria is far away. We're in SADC.
No, so, Nigeria is very far away. And by the way, I'm
and they've got a big population.
So. Yeah, all right, okay. So yeah, so let's talk about now how this is going to affect people's pockets. It's going to affect people's personal finances. Obviously, like VAT is passed to the consumer, even the lowest income earner as well. It's passed to them. It's going to affect their pockets. How can we now advise people to start managing their pockets? I mean, at Suero, we really try to advise a lot of managing of personal finances, minimizing of expenses, etc. Now, I would like you to please just let's elaborate on this important factor of now how is this going to affect our pockets and how can people manage this for themselves.
I mean, maybe let's paint a picture on what happens regarding VAT. So if you get into a shop, the prices that you see there are inclusive of VAT, but you don't get told that because you don't need to know. It is expected that you know in the background.
You should know
that if this good is subject to VAT, you know, there is a VAT component in there. So you're already paying VAT. So what will happen from the 1st of April is that the prices of each good which is subject to VAT, as well as services, you know, like medical services, not public medical services, but when you go to the private hospitals, etc., they will go up, and any other services as well, which is not exempt from VAT, they will go up. So it is going to the VAT component is going to go up from 12 to 14. So if you are talking about something which is costing you 12 pulla now, it is going to be costing you 14 pulla. Basically, on an individual or on a particular good level, you're not going to really see a huge impact. But if you look at things such as groceries that a person buys a month, that impact could be quite significant. So what happens when a tax rate increases is that in terms of economics, it is expected that the demand goes down. So the demand goes down here in the sense that you're going to cut off your luxury goods, cut off those things which you really don't need. Okay, concentrate on those things that you do need. And let me just be clear and say this increase is going to affect especially the unemployed and the low income earners. The high income earners are just going to continue like, you know, life is, you know, like nothing has changed. Because because they've got the resources. It's like, well, to pull up, you know,
the impact.
It's not an issue. Exactly. So the issue is it will call for a change in spending, you know, patterns. It will call for a change in things that you prioritize. You might have to now say, okay, do I really need these, you know, confectionaries? Do I really need these ice creams and all these other things? And so you might even need to, you might even need to take away your subscription from other organizations, you know, your gym, etc. You know, exercise outside, just go jogging.
An example,
instead of paying a gym.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things to basically consider. But obviously, you know, somebody who doesn't earn any income as we speak, they probably will have to find ways of surviving legally. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to underline the legally part. Let's basically find ways of making money legally and making more money legally. If you are, and this is another thing with if you actually have if you feel your income is a bit too low, this is affecting you negatively. One of the best ways to do it is obviously to diversify your income, find out another way of actually making another stream of income legally, like you're saying, so that you can also don't feel the impact that much. Yeah,
you shouldn't. You see, what will happen is the first month and the second month, people will be like, hey, this is, and then from the third to fourth month going downwards, it will be like, okay.
Yeah,
we know we cut our basket.
Yeah.
But well, we get used to it and then life goes on, you know.
Yeah, life does go on. It's true. All right. So let's now get into the pay as you earn. Basically now the change from the 36,000 per year to 48,000 per year. This is from 3,000 pula per month to 4,000 pula per month salary brackets. So now the government has actually decided not to charge people who are earning 36,000 pula 36,000 pula per year. No, per year, guys, not per month, per year. But start from 48,000 per year. What do you think the strategy there is, Jonathan?
Right. So you see, periodically the authorities must review some of the tax rates, and especially this one because it is the lower threshold. So the lower threshold basically means that this is the level at which you start taxing somebody. So it has been 36,000 per annum or 3,000 pula per month since the 1st of July 2011, and we are now in 2021. So it's been like that for a couple of years, close to 10 years. So when we did our own calculation of that figure and then we put in the cost of living indices, it came to around 4.5 currently. 3,000 pula in 2011 comes to around 4.5. So our guess is that the minister didn't want to take it much higher to maybe 5,000 or 6,000 to protect revenue as well. As you may know, the country is grappling with this COVID-19 and is affecting everything else. So whatever adjustments have to be made, they have also to consider the economy at large. Because people always want, please pay, our teachers, please pay the police, please pay this. We demand all these services, but then the question is, where is the money coming? So what government was trying to do there was trying to rationalize that 36,000 threshold to make it in line with inflation, because it's been like that for the past 10 years. That's number one. Number two, so what the effect of that is, number one, it also cushions the low income earner. So the low income earner is going to be like, wow, I was earning 3.9, no more tax. So they're going to take home that 3.9. It's their amount, they can utilize it. Number two, what is going to happen to every person who earns employment income or passive income? Your passive income would be things like your interest, your rental income, etc., etc. The tax is going to go down. The moment you earn more than 48,000, your taxes are going to go down. Your personal tax is going to go down. So you're going to discover that you have more money to take home. So in as much as, yes, the VAT rate has gone up, you also have received some monies from government indirectly.
Particularly for the lower income earners. Particularly for the
lower income earners. They are really going to feel they are going to really enjoy that reduction in the taxes because it is going to increase their income. Obviously, the high income earners are going to be like, oh, well, yeah, this increase is not so much, Well, that's how they're going to look at it. So the lower income earners are the ones who would say the government wanted really to accommodate and make sure that their affairs are also catered for and their circumstances are also considered.
Absolutely.
But this is only going to take effect from the 1st of July.
1st
of July 2021, because it follows the tax year.
Very good point, actually. Very, very, very good point, because I was actually discussing with a colleague of mine who's also in the accounting industry. Does it, with these adjustments, because as much as that from April 2021, that's the government's financial year. Does it mean, what does it mean for BRS? Does it start in the BRS financial year, or, that's actually a very good point that you are making now, that we need to know. So this adjustment will only start in the new BRS financial year, which is the 1st of July 2021.
So that one is technically the tax year for every individual and every company. But companies can obviously choose, a different financial year. But what we're basically saying is the ones that are starting on the 1st of April, those ones are following the government's financial year, which starts 1st of April and ends 31st of March the following year. But there are certain things which you can't change midway. You can change the pay as you earn rates midway, like before the end of 30 June, because then you cause a lot of problems in people trying to balance what they were collecting, because the pay as you earn and withholding taxes, they all follow the tax year, which starts from 1st of July up to 3rd of June. So there are two things to consider here. Government's financial year runs 1st of April, 31st March, and then the tax year runs from 1st of July to 31st to 30th of June the following year.
Yeah. So that's the one thing. So let's talk about the VAT. VAT will be probably, if it does get approved, it will be from April, or will it also be from July?
April. It is April.
Okay.
April, yeah.
Got it. Now let's get into the sugar tax. Very new to us, but very common in developed countries. This one is, I know in the US, they don't play with this one, particularly making the sugar industry accountable to what they're producing for people to eat. I know that's the strategy with developed countries. What is the strategy with our government in terms of the sugar levy?
All right, so your sugar tax is one of the sin taxes. A sin tax is a tax which is imposed on people so that they don't sin against themselves. All right. Okay. It's not my. it's not my definition. So it's like, hey, injure yourself a little bit, not too much. So there are certain goods which, if consumed, they are detrimental to somebody's health or somebody's well-being. We already have two sin taxes: the alcohol levy and the tobacco levy. So this is going to be the third sin tax. Why is it a sin tax when I'm buying, my fizzy drink and my energy drink? Yes, whatever it might be.
Okay, so energy drink, but chocolate sounds more simple than energy.
And sugar and cakes are also, But let me make it clear. This sugar tax is only going to be levied on what are called sugar saturated beverages, which we call SSBs. So these are basically your drinks.
Oh, not chocolate.
So the other ones are escaping. No.
Thank God.
You're not going to have your sweets. Sweets are just going to be, continue. They will be produced with too much sugar, etc., and our kids are going to continue, consuming too much sugar. So the issue around sugar tax is that it is linked to a lot of diseases, diabetes and your strokes, etc. So the strategy is to say, now what do we do to people? Because human behavior is very complex. So the only way you can get to them is just going to increase the prices of those beverages. So that when they get into the shop, they'll be like, it's more expensive. Okay, let me buy something else. Yeah. Or maybe let me buy milk or something else. And then they reduce that consumption. But then there are those people who are addicted. So what are going to do? What is going to happen? They will continue buying regardless of what happens. But then the government would then say, okay, fine, continue buying, and then you pay the tax for us so that, we can then finance that Marina Hospital. We can then finance that Marina Hospital to take care of you because you now have this disease, because you don't want to stop consuming it. So it's more like a balancing act. Like you said, in the developing world, issues around welfare of people, those are very, very key. And I think we're just moving in the right direction. Our neighbor, South Africa, introduced it. It was met with a lot of criticism. But the criticism in South Africa is because there are so many companies which produce them there. So there were concerns around employment.
Obviously, there were.
Around, exactly. But well, here we pretty much... we pretty much import almost all of them. So, no job losses, no massive job losses should be expected. While the effects are going to be slim, obviously the profits of the companies engaged in such businesses are going to go down. But anyway, it's to be honest with you, sin taxes are celebrated. Let me not say I'm celebrating it, because I don't want your viewers to, throw stones at me. I'm just saying sin taxes are celebrated internationally.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, like I think the strategy here, particularly for Botswana, is that the health in Botswana is almost free. So yeah, so basically I was saying, because the health in Botswana is actually almost free for us. So, doing this, because sugar makes us sick, if you actually impose tax on that, you try and reduce the consumption of the sugar that makes us sick, therefore dropping the health bill for the government. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it basically. That's the logic.
That's the logic. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. So let's move on to withholding tax on dividends being increased from 7.5 to 10%. Yeah. So why do you think they're doing that? And is it not going to deter investing on stocks if we're actually now increasing the tax on dividends?
Well, we don't think it's going to affect anything, not at all.
Yeah.
Why? Because the other investment alternatives would be interest-bearing assets, and the other ones would be capital gains. Assets which give you capital gains after some time. And the taxes on those other alternatives are already way higher than 7.5%. So on your interest, it's already at 10%. On your capital gains, it's already at 25%. So on your interest is going to be 10%, but then effectively it will go to your 25% when you file your income tax return. So 25, both of them basically. And then you've got 7.5%. And at the moment when withholding tax is deducted from dividends, it becomes a final tax. So effectively, this is one of the lowest tax rates that we do have in the country. So if it goes up to 10%, it's not going to affect people's appetite to invest in, stocks. This is mainly going to affect, the haves, those who run companies and then they want to declare dividends and then they get paid. So yes, of course, it will be for shareholders, it will be like, ouch, hey, it's a little bit high.
Yeah.
But well, it's not going to be anything too extremely high, so we don't expect any major changes. We might, but this 10%, let me just make it clear that it can even go down to 5%. Even though after the 1st of July, 2021, when it goes up to 10, it can go down to 5%, depending on the tax treaties or the double taxation avoidance agreements. We do have double taxation avoidance agreements which speak to that 5%. They are not all of them. Some of them, they say if the shareholder is a company holding at least 25% shares in the Botswana entity, the rate shall not exceed 5%. So it's like examples would be Mauritius, Seychelles, United Kingdom, and Northern Ireland, as well as Ireland, the one which doesn't have Northern Ireland. Yeah, so it's not much of an issue. It's just a way of raising revenue. The shareholders will continue to invest because the investment environment is quite good in terms of profitability. I think even international companies, they make profits here. So I don't think it's going to it's going to affect investor confidence, not at all.
All right. The plastic levy, long overdue for collection, I guess, on the government side. Shockingly so, because they have been struggling with revenue-wise. What my question here would be, are they going to collect what they have not been collecting?
So just to give a little bit of the background, you see, retailers have been charging us 25 tebe per every plastic. So the moment you see, you go onto the till and say, can I have a plastic? You'd see the teller, actually passing that plastic bag on that machine which charges us, and then there will be 25 tebe there. They've been collecting this money and then pocketing it because there was no law which prescribed how the tax was going to be paid. So now the introduction of the law effective the 1st of April, it is expected on the 1st of April, we will not change anything. We don't expect any prices of the plastics to go up.
No.
All that we are expecting is that, the retailers and whoever was charging it will then take the money to banks.
Yes.
So this is just a way of collecting the tax which is due to them. It doesn't really affect us as taxpayers.
Yeah. My question is, because they've not been collecting all along because of the law that has not been in place, are they going to back pay? Are they going to want their money that has...
No.
So we've been
It's going to be very difficult.
For... No. No, what I don't...
No, they made money out of it. They made money out of it, and I think they're just going to enjoy themselves. Trying to go back is going to complicate things. Because it means now you have to go back, and then you have to do these calculations, and then, if you had no way of recording it, and if it was not legal, how are you going to determine how much you charge? Maybe the codes in your system are going to help you, but then it will complicate things. And then again, in terms of the laws are, in most cases, they are put in place to tax going forwards, not to tax going backwards.
Okay.
So you don't want to start causing problems. BRS has got a lot on its hands right now.
We have backstage when we're at varsity with the allowances. We would look forward to those.
Exactly.
I still don't understand how that works, but we used to have backstage and we enjoyed them. I think what really would concern the viewer right now is, so this company has been charging the 25 Thebe levy on the consumer and pocketing it. Why has it been been allowed to go on when it's actually not even necessarily the government is collecting it? Why are we paying? Why are we giving these guys money? I don't know.
It's an unfortunate thing that happened. Okay. It could be because maybe an announcement could have been made, and then people started collecting, but then there was no statutory instrument, or maybe a statutory instrument didn't see the light of the day. Yeah, it happened. Let's
move on.
Let's swallow the pill and move on. Let's move.
All right. Okay. We shall move on. It's fine. All right. Let's get into now the tax amnesty, Jonathan. This one I'm pretty sure Botswana really or the viewer would really like to hear about the tax amnesty, and it's quite an interesting one. That they're waiving the penalties, but you have to pay the principal tax. Let's explain that to the viewer. What does that mean, and when can the viewer start approaching BRS about that?
So you see, the tax amnesty is a tool which is used by tax authorities worldwide to try to entice taxpayers to comply, especially where the tax authorities see that there is a problem in this area.
Yeah.
And I'll just give you the history of this problem. BRS has been owed a lot of money by taxpayers, and it has tried to collect the taxes, made a lot of efforts. Yeah. But it has found itself not being able to collect as much as it would have loved to collect.
Yeah.
So reading through the annual reports from 2015, the BRS annual reports, you'd see under the section called tax debt, say we made efforts to collect these taxes, but however, we could not collect. Number one, because some of the taxpayers are not able to pay. Number two, some of them are not traceable. We don't know where they are. Number three, there could be issues around, companies struggling actually financially. So the issue to do was, there was one report which actually suggested that, probably we should just write off some of this debt. Okay. But now, how do you write off tax debts? You come up with a tax amnesty. Your tax amnesty is basically an extension to the taxpayer to say, hey, we know you owe us. But you know what we're going to do? We're not going to collect from you. We are going to give you some holiday of sorts. So what happens here is the tax amnesty, the way it will work is, number one, let's assume a taxpayer is supposed to pay principal tax of 100,000.
Yeah.
And then they were charged penalties of 20,000. And then over and above that, they were charged interest of 30,000. So they now have 150,000 bill to pay. So what the tax amnesty is going to do is, the tax authorities are going to say, hey, we are going to take away your 50,000, your 20 and 30 there, provided you pay us the 100,000. So that way we believe that taxpayers will be sort of incentivized to say, okay, let me sort out my tax issues. Let me just pay the 100,000 so that I can get this 50,000 waived.
Yeah.
That 50,000 I've used an easy one.
Yeah.
The complex one is where you have your tax interest, which way exceeds your principal. You might owe 100,000 and then you've got interest of 350,000. And then you try to look at it, especially if it's an individual, they look at it and say, where do I get 450,000? And unfortunately, this tax bill, they increase on a monthly basis by 1.5%. So what the minister is proposing there, he did not mention the date, but he said in the next tax year, which means it can only be after the 1st of July, 2021. What he's proposing there is to say to taxpayers, come, let's sit on this table. You pay us the principal amount. We take away your penalties. But we obviously expect a law to be put in place, and it would stipulate the terms and conditions. It would also stipulate when the taxes arise, we believe, or maybe taxes due as at this date. This is what can be done. And obviously, the tax amnesty, I think, it should have like an end date. You can't always have it, open-ended.
We can't keep asking.
You can't have it open-ended. And just to tell you about the magnitudes of the tax debt, in 2018, 31 March of 2018, BRS was owed 3.3 billion.
Wow,
then,
that's very high.
End of 2019, that was 3.4 billion. And then by end of 2021, you never know, it could be, because of COVID, it could be around 5 billion, 6 billion. So even companies, when they discover that they can't collect, they write off these debts. There's no need for anybody to keep on, hanging on to a debt and saying, this one owes me, when you're not going to collect.
They're not going to pay. Yeah, they're not going to be able to pay. It's not even they're not going to pay,
exactly.
ability to pay. Yeah.
They won't be able to pay. So just write it off.
Yeah. So this is the strategy here. How long do you think the tax amnesty will be? Just one tax year, you think?
I think one tax year, because you don't also want the tax authorities wouldn't also want to give the impression that, you know what, you guys, you can just fail to pay your taxes, and we'll still forgive them. Just gonna, because the law is already there. But now, I think a maximum of a year, maybe 6 months, maybe 12 months, because what I know is that BRS is struggling with those debts because they are way too high for some of the companies. Some of the companies actually go insolvent because of the tax debt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is very interesting because I think what we really need to emphasize for the listener or the viewer is that the tax amnesty is only going to start on the 1st of July, new tax year, 2021. So you can't go to BRS right now and go try and pay your principal without your penalties. So if you do need a tax clearance, which is normally a popular one, people come knocking on our doors because they need their tax clearances tomorrow. You're still going to need to probably negotiate those penalties and pay them right now. So it's not going to be
So no one is allowed to mention the word tax amnesty until the law comes out.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying.
Absolutely, that's fine. So let's
just say.
So let's not be excited or anything until it's actually in place. So let's go pay our taxes as they stand, so that we can get our tax clearances for those ones that don't have them yet. It can't work for you right now. So and then the levy on second-hand vehicles, Jonathan. Which I think it's a good idea to a certain extent, because I feel like the pollution, but let's explain to the viewer what this means, that the government is not trying to, block them from having cars. Because I know that's
no. That's not the intention. All right, so you know what's happening here? Loretta, you're right. It's not the intention that people should not own cars. What is basically happening is there is, as we as we develop as a country, and as we get more information, we also get concerned about things such as the environment.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about second-hand cars, the argument is that they pollute the air more than new cars. And I mean, if you just drive around and see those cars which will be smoking on the road, most likely it is the second-hand car. Not to offend anybody, but it's most likely the second-hand vehicle. So it is, they emit, whatever, whether it's called carbon dioxide or whatever, or carbon monoxide, whatever it is, but it hurts the ozone layer. It causes all those things such as global warming and all the hazards. So this is what is called a carbon tax. It's a carbon tax, basically. So the way it is going to operate is, the minister didn't mention the date, but we think it is going to come probably the 1st of June or the 1st of July. It will be at the importation. So the levy will be charged at the time of importation of the goods. I mean, of the second-hand vehicles at the border. Some countries would actually do it like inland, to say you pay your carbon tax as and when you renew your license. But the minister, the way you put it, he said on the importation of second-hand vehicles at the border. So people shouldn't really feel like, we are not going to be able to afford cars. I don't think it's going to be too high, such that people won't be able to afford those second-hand cars. I know those second-hand vehicles, middle income earners and small companies, but even some big companies also buy them. So they are very important in terms of economic activity. Exactly. They are also important in terms of social welfare of the public, because a car these days is no longer a luxury. It's more of a necessity. But the carbon tax is also going to increase revenue for the tax authorities. And for your own information, this is not the first time that the tax authorities have said we are going to introduce a carbon tax.
I remember.
As in the tax fraternity, is it a year or two ago, I co-presented with somebody from BRS. They also said we're going to introduce a carbon tax. It was in the newspapers, but wow, not so many people read the newspapers. So when they listen to this, they'll be like, what's going to happen? Where is this coming from? But it was said a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, I remember even the former Minister of Transport once actually at one point wanted to stop the importation of these second-hand cars. And it was actually mainly, I think but it was a very unpopular move, I remember, for the poor minister. But the strategy there is always to protect us and to protect our health, because if there's too much pollution, it's going to affect our health, guys, and and our lungs, and then therefore that means we don't live as long as we would like to, or we don't breathe well. So it's always meant well for us. I think that's the part that we always need, make it clear for anybody listening, that normally these strategies are not meant to punish anybody, but to benefit us in the long run. Yeah. Okay. So I think Jonathan, let's wrap it up. But lastly, what we're going to talk about is the fuel levy. And also how it's also going to affect our personal finances, of course. And why do you think the fuel levy is being done right now, especially with the fact that fuel prices had gone down at one point? But why are we putting the fuel levy? What do you think the strategy there is for the government? As again.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, we've said that government is in need of resources, finances to fund the budgets. So it is basically meant to boost government revenue. And then again, just to give you a little bit of the background, that fuel levy was introduced around 2002 at Koftebe. It's currently sitting at Koftebe. And so the government is proposing to increase it to 1 pula at Koftebe. It will obviously, I think, impact the price of fuel. But the price of fuel, like you said, they went down, So it's more like it will just bring the prices, to the previous levels. Let's also make a distinction between this fuel levy and the NPF levy. It has nothing to do with NPF.
Nothing to do with it.
It is a levy which is collected.
Yes,
it is
make a clarification on that one.
This is just a fuel levy which is collected by BURS whenever fuel is imported into the country. And but again, before we say price of fuel are going to increase, we should be aware that there's an organization called BERA. So before they increase the prices, they will put up a notice. And so we shouldn't take it that automatically the price of fuel is going to increase and all those things, because we know there's the NPF, fund which sort of stabilizes the prices of fuel. So it may, if the price of fuel goes up, yes, of course, then of course it's going to hit our pockets. But then again, on the other hand, hitting our pockets means that we are also going to get that other next service that we need. That pothole that we are always asking, hey, this pothole, they should fix it. It's going to be fixed because we are paying the taxes.
Absolutely. Right. No, thank you so much, Jonathan. This has been such an amazing interview. Very, very informative. I hope it was good for the listener. And and Jonathan, I know, like I said, I know you are very passionate about this particular topic, taxes, and we really, really appreciate your time this morning for you to come and inform our viewers about the tax adjustments, or the tax proposed adjustment by the minister. What do they mean and why are they being done? And it's always, and I like the fact that we really stressed on the fact that it's always for us. The government is for us. Whenever they're making decisions, they're making them for us, not to punish us, but to make sure that at least they also have revenue to take care of the things that they need to take care of for us as well. And
exactly. Yeah, that's it.
So those are the things that I think we should just really understand, that it means the minister means well, at the end of the day. Take time to actually go through the budget speech. It's actually quite simple, nothing difficult about the lingo in there. Just take time, go through it and actually just, understand what the plans are for the next financial year of the government. And you'll also understand exactly the state of the economy at the level at which the government is running at a deficit, and they really need the revenue to sustain basic necessities for the public. Yeah, right, Jonathan? Yeah.
Sure. Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you, and also I hope your listeners will benefit from this.
Yes.
And you're well. We are always available to assist anybody who is in need of tax services. Like we said, we are from Aupracon Tax Specialists, and our number again is 7181-5836. I'll say it again. 7181-5836.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Jonathan. Please contact Jonathan. Anything to do with taxes, he's your guy. But even businesses, big businesses, this is your guy if you need any sort of company tax or any tax advisory. Yeah. Okay, then. Bye for now.
Okay, bye.